My precious child, stop for a moment, because what I am about to reveal cannot wait another hour. The message you almost ignored, the voice you silenced, the nudges you brushed aside, they were not coincidences. They were me. God is saying, I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me. And now, something very shocking and unexpected is coming. This is not to scare you. This is to wake you. And you must open your heart to this before tonight, 11:57 p.m., because a spiritual shift is already in motion. You thought it was just another video, another notification, another whisper in the wind. But what if I told you this moment was scheduled in heaven before you were even born? What if the reason you feel restless right now is because your spirit recognizes that this is not random? I, Archangel Michael, stand as a witness between heaven and earth. I have been sent many times to guard you, to warn you, to shield you from dangers you never saw. And still you kept skipping the signs. You delayed obedience. You muted vision. You scrolled past divine appointments. But this time, heaven will not be ignored. For months, God hath been sending you subtle confirmations. A dream that felt too real. A conversation that struck your heart. A sudden feeling that something is about to change. You called it stress. You called it imagination. But it was a holy interruption. You are standing at a crossroads tonight. Something shocking and unexpected is coming. Not as punishment, but as revelation. God is about to expose what you refused to confront. He is about to uncover what you tried to bury. And when it happens, you will remember this message. Listen carefully. Every time you skipped prayer, every time you postponed repentance, every time you felt that inner tug and said later, heaven recorded it. Not to condemn you, but to show you how desperately God hath been trying to protect you from what is forming behind the scenes. There is a shift happening in your environment. Not everyone around you carries pure intentions. Not every door that opened was sent by God. And not every opportunity was a blessing. Some were distractions carefully designed to pull you away from your destiny. And you kept skipping the warnings. Archangel Michael has been assigned to guard your path. But there are rules in the Spirit. When you ignore divine direction repeatedly, you give permission for confusion to grow. And confusion is what the enemy uses to plant chaos. This is why lately things have felt strange. Small arguments escalating. Unexpected tension in your home. Strange delays. Opportunities collapsing at the last second. You blamed yourself. You blamed others. But you never asked, God, are you trying to get my attention? He was. And tonight, before 11:57 p.m., a decision must be made. Will you finally listen? Because what is coming will shock you. A truth is about to surface. A hidden motive will be revealed. A mask will fall. And when it does, it will feel sudden, but heaven hath been preparing you for it. Do not panic when it happens. When exposure comes, it is not destruction, it is protection. God removes what would have destroyed you slowly. He reveals what would have betrayed you quietly. And He acts suddenly so that you cannot ignore Him anymore. You have been praying for clarity. You have been asking for confirmation. You have been begging for a sign. This is the sign. The shocking moment approaching is not meant to break you. It is meant to wake you up to the reality that God has been pursuing you relentlessly. Even when you were distracted. Even when you were tired. Even when you were numb. Archangel Michael stands with sword drawn, not against you, but against what seeks to mislead you. But you must cooperate. You must stop skipping the voice that calls your name in the quiet. There is a reason this message found you today. Before midnight strikes 11:57 p.m., something in your spirit will stir. A memory, a realization, a sudden understanding. When it happens, do not brush it off. Do not scroll away. Do not say, "I'll deal with it tomorrow." Tomorrow may carry consequences of today's delay. This is not fear. This is urgency. You are closer to breakthrough than you realize. But breakthrough often arrives wrapped in exposure, wrapped in uncomfortable truth, wrapped in sudden change. And God is saying, I tried gently. I whispered. I nudged. I waited. Now I will move boldly. You cannot afford to skip him again. There are blessings suspended in your obedience. There is protection activated by your attention. There is clarity unlocked by your surrender. The shocking and unexpected thing that is coming will draw a line. It will separate distraction from destiny. It will separate manipulation from truth. It will separate temporary comfort from eternal purpose. And when it happens, you will know that heaven was serious about reaching you. Right now, your only assignment is this: soften your heart. Close your eyes for a moment after hearing this. Ask God what you have been avoiding. Ask Him where you have been running. Ask Him what message you skipped that was meant to save you. Because tonight is not ordinary. Heaven is leaning in. Angels are attentive. And Archangel Michael is standing guard, waiting for your response. This is your wake-up call. Will you answer? Beloved soul, something is shifting in the atmosphere around you, and you can feel it even now. It is subtle but undeniable. A quiet tension, a strange urgency, almost as if time itself is leaning forward, waiting for your response. God is saying again, I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me. And this time, the consequences of ignoring Him will not be small whispers. They will be loud awakenings. You may be wondering why the message feels so direct tonight, why the tone feels different, why it feels like heaven is pressing harder than before. It is because the window is narrowing, not for your destruction, but for your decision. There are moments in life when God allows comfort, and then there are moments when He disrupts comfort to rescue destiny. You are in the second kind of moment. Archangel Michael stands near your path even now, not in anger, but in urgency. He has watched you struggle. He has seen the confusion cloud your judgment. He has seen the doors that looked golden but carried hidden traps behind them. And many times, protection came quietly. Many times, disaster was blocked without you ever knowing. But you continued to move without asking heaven first. That pattern ends now. The shocking and unexpected thing that is approaching is not random. It is the result of divine intervention. God is about to interrupt something you were about to settle for. Something you thought was normal. Something you almost accepted as your permanent reality. But heaven refuses to let you live beneath your calling. Have you noticed how lately distractions increased whenever you tried to pray? How your mind wandered the moment you opened your heart? How suddenly everything felt more urgent than your spiritual life? That is not coincidence. That is resistance. And resistance only rises when breakthrough is close. You were almost at the edge of missing your divine appointment again. Almost about to scroll past another warning. Almost about to say, I'll fix it later. But this time, God did not allow the scroll. He stopped you here. He placed this message in your hands before 11:57 p.m. for a reason. Because something is about to be revealed that will confirm everything you have been sensing. It may be a truth about a situation. It may be clarity about a relationship. It may be exposure of something hidden in plain sight. When it happens, do not be shocked that it feels sudden. Heaven had been preparing you step by step. The signs were there. The nudges were there. The discomfort was there. You just kept skipping. Archangel Michael's presence around you right now is not symbolic. It represents spiritual defense activated by your attention. The moment you choose to listen instead of ignore, protection strengthens. The moment you decide to obey instead of delay, clarity sharpens. And here is what you must understand clearly. Ignoring God does not stop him from moving. It only determines whether you move with him or are surprised by him. Tonight is about alignment. Here is a reason you feel a pull in your chest while listening. A seriousness in your spirit. That is conviction mixed with mercy. God is not condemning you. He is calling you back before the shock arrives. He is giving you one more chance to respond willingly before you respond forcefully. The unexpected event coming is not meant to destroy your peace. It is meant to expose false peace. The kind that looked stable but was slowly draining your purpose. The kind that felt comfortable but was quietly delaying your destiny. And when it unfolds, you will remember this warning. This is the moment where you choose differently. Instead of skipping prayer, you pause. Instead of ignoring conviction, you lean into it. Instead of distracting yourself, you confront what needs to change. And if this message is piercing your heart right now, do not keep it to yourself. Someone close to you may also be ignoring divine warnings. Share this message with them. Let this be the wake-up call not just for you, but for your circle. Like this video so the message travels further. Comment what you are feeling at this very moment, because your testimony strengthens others. Subscribe to this channel and stand with this mission so heaven's warnings reach those who are still asleep. When you engage, you are not just supporting a video. You are amplifying a divine alert. Because what comes next will make everything clear. Hold on, because what is about to unfold in your life will confirm that God was never silent. He was persistent. And this next revelation will prove it beyond doubt. Chosen one, the reason your spirit feels unsettled right now is because heaven is already moving pieces behind the scenes. You may not see it with your physical eyes yet, but in the spiritual realm, activity has increased. God is saying, I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me, and now the season of gentle reminders is ending. A season of undeniable revelation is beginning. You have asked for proof. You have asked for clarity. You have asked God to show you what is real and what is false. But when the answers started coming in subtle ways, you hesitated. You questioned. You delayed. And sometimes, you completely ignored the whisper because it disrupted your comfort. Archangel Michael has been standing as a guardian over your household, over your decisions, over paths you almost took that would have led to regret. There were moments when you were seconds away from making choices that would have entangled you in long-term consequences. But protection stepped in quietly. You called it coincidence. It was not coincidence. It was intervention. Now listen carefully. The shocking and unexpected thing approaching is not chaos. It is exposure. It is truth rising to the surface. And truth often feels uncomfortable before it feels free. There is something hidden in your environment that cannot stay hidden any longer. A motive. A secret intention. A pattern that has been draining your peace. God has seen it. Archangel Michael has guarded you from its full impact. But now it must be brought into light. You might feel nervous hearing this. That is natural. But do not confuse nervousness with danger. Exposure is protection and action. When God reveals something suddenly, it is because delaying it would have caused deeper damage. Think about the recent tension you have felt, the unexplained distance in certain connection, the small red flags you noticed but dismissed. Other early alerts. God was speaking through your intuition, through your dreams, through repeated thoughts that would not leave you alone. Yet you kept scrolling through life, convincing yourself it was nothing. But it was something. Tonight, before 11:57 p.m., your awareness will sharpen. A conversation may happen. A realization may click. A memory may replay in your mind with new understanding. When that happens, do not brush it aside again. That is the moment heaven has been preparing you for. Archangel Michael stands ready not only to defend, but to empower. Protection is not just about blocking harm. It is about strengthening discernment. And discernment is being activated in you right now. You are beginning to see through what once confused you. You are beginning to sense what once felt hidden. This is the shift. God is not angry that you skipped him before. He is grieved because you underestimated how much he was trying to save you from. Every ignored nudge delayed your breakthrough. Every postponed prayer slowed your alignment. But grace has kept you here long enough for one more turning point. The unexpected event coming will feel like a sudden unveiling. Something that once seemed stable may show cracks. Something that once felt trustworthy may reveal inconsistency. Do not panic when this happens. Do not rush to fix it emotionally. Pause. Breathe. Ask God to confirm what he is showing you. Because this is not destruction. This is divine correction. You have been too valuable to be left in deception. Too called to remain distracted. Too chosen to stay asleep. That is why the message is urgent. That is why you were not allowed to skip it this time. Heaven intervened because destiny is at stake. And here is something deeper you must understand. The exposure that is coming is not only about others. It may also reveal parts of your own heart that need refining. Patterns of avoidance. Habits of delay. Fears that kept you from obedience. When truth shines, it shines everywhere. Let it purify, not shame you. Archangel Michael's presence in this hour is a sign that protection surrounds you even in revelation. Nothing that is exposed will destroy you. It will only reposition you. It will redirect you toward alignment you have been postponing for too long. So prepare your heart. Prepare to respond differently this time. Prepare to listen immediately when God speaks. Because when the clock approaches 11:57 p.m., something in your spirit will know that a line has been drawn. The season of skipping is over. The season of responding begins. If this message is piercing your soul, type "I receive the warning" in the comments right now. Blessing code 444 has just been released over your life. And as this revelation unfolds, understand this. When you support the spreading of messages like this, you become part of heaven's rescue mission. The seeds you sow through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link in the description become light in someone else's darkness. The word says, "Cast your bread upon the waters, and it shall return to you." This is not a donation. This is obedience to a divine prompting. When you act, you align yourself with the harvest of souls being awakened tonight. I declare that every seed you release will return multiplied in protection, clarity, and favor. Do not delay when your spirit is nudged to give. Step into it boldly and activate your blessing now. Faithful one, now that the warning has been spoken and the atmosphere around you has shifted, you may begin to notice something unusual. The distractions that once felt overwhelming are losing their grip. The noise that kept you numb is becoming easier to silence. This is not accidental. This is the effect of attention returning to God. When you stop skipping His voice, clarity begins to rise. You must understand what is truly happening behind the scenes. The shocking and unexpected event that is approaching is not isolated. It is connected to a larger spiritual adjustment in your life. God is not simply exposing one situation. He is restructuring your direction. What felt stable but misaligned is being shaken. What looked secure but was draining your calling is being loosened. Archangel Michael remains assigned to your path in this hour, not just as a warrior, but as a guardian of transition. Every transition requires courage, and courage grows when truth is faced, not avoided. You have spent too much time trying to maintain comfort instead of confronting what your spirit already knew. Think back to the first time you felt that inner check, the moment when something inside you whispered, "This is not right." You silenced it because you feared disruption. You feared what would change if you acknowledged the truth. But God was not trying to disrupt your peace. He was trying to prevent long-term damage. The coming revelation will not just expose hidden motives around you. It will also reveal the strength you did not know you had. You have underestimated your resilience. You have underestimated your spiritual authority. And because of that, you tolerated things longer than necessary. That season is closing. When the unexpected unfolds, some people may react emotionally. Some may attempt to explain away what is clearly revealed. Others may try to pull you back into confusion. But you must remain steady. This is where your growth will be tested. Will you stand in clarity, or will you retreat into denial? God is giving you advance notice so that you respond with wisdom instead of shock. The purpose of this message is not to create fear. It is to create preparedness. When you know something is about to shift, you position yourself differently. You pray differently. You observe more carefully. You speak less and discern more. Archangel Michael's covering in this hour means that nothing exposed will overpower you. It may surprise you, but it will not crush you. It may feel intense, but it will not destroy you. The reason heaven is intervening now is because delaying this would have allowed deeper roots of confusion to grow. There is also something else you must recognize. Sometimes, when God says you have been skipping Him, it is not only about prayer or worship. It is about obedience in small matters. It is about ignoring boundaries you knew you should set. It is about accepting patterns you knew were unhealthy. It is about delaying conversations you knew needed to happen. The unexpected event may force one of those conversations into the open. It may bring truth into a place where silence once ruled. And when that happens, do not interpret it as chaos. Interpret it as cleansing. Cleansing is rarely comfortable, but it is always necessary. You are not being singled out for hardship. You are being selected for refinement. There is a higher level of clarity waiting for you, but it requires courage. It requires the willingness to stop skipping God when His instruction feels inconvenient. Ask yourself honestly, why did you avoid listening fully before? Was it fear of losing someone? Fear of a change? Fear of being alone? God saw that fear. He understands it. But He also knows that what He is removing or exposing cannot remain if you are to step into your true calling. This moment is a dividing line between who you were and who you are becoming. The shocking element of what is coming lies in its timing. It will happen when you least expect it, yet exactly when you are spiritually ready. That is how divine timing works. It feels sudden, but it is perfectly measured. You will look back and realize that every skipped warning was still covered by mercy. Every delayed response was still surrounded by protection. But mercy does not remove responsibility forever. Eventually, A decision must be made. This is your decision point. You can either return to distraction after hearing this, or you can lean into alignment. You can either treat this as emotional inspiration, or you can treat it as divine instruction. Archangel Michael does not stand guard over passive lives. He stands guard over purposeful ones. And purpose requires response. As the night moves closer to 11:57 p.m., pay attention to what surfaces in your mind. Pay attention to who reaches out to you. Pay attention to sudden realizations that feel clear and undeniable. These are not random events. They are pieces aligning. And when the exposure comes, stand firm. Speak truth calmly. Do not overreact. Do not underreact. Simply align. Because after this unveiling, a new level of peace will begin to settle over you. Not the fragile peace you maintain by ignoring problems, but the stable peace that comes from facing them. This is not the end of something good. It is the end of something false. And when falsehood falls away, destiny becomes visible. Warrior of faith, you are standing closer to the turning point than you realize. The air around your life feels charged because something is being finalized in the unseen realm. God is not hesitating anymore. He has called your name repeatedly, and now He is drawing a clear boundary between delay and destiny. You have felt the pressure building, not external pressure alone, but internal conviction. A weight in your spirit that refuses to be ignored. That weight is not anxiety. It is awakening. It is the realization that you can no longer pretend you did not hear God calling you back. When God said, "I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me," it was not a statement of rejection. It was a statement of longing. He has been pursuing you because what is attached to your obedience is larger than you think. Your choices ripple outward. Your alignment affects more than your own peace. There are people connected to your destiny who depend on you responding correctly in this hour. Archangel Michael remains vigilant around you because transitions attract resistance. Whenever someone steps closer to clarity, confusion attempts to make a final push. You may notice sudden doubts rising, thoughts whispering that maybe this message is exaggerated. Maybe nothing will really change. Maybe you can go back to normal. That is the final test. A normal was comfortable, but it was not aligned. Normal allowed you to postpone growth. Normal kept you half-aware and half asleep. But the life you are being called into requires full attention. The unexpected event approaching is not just about exposure of others. It is about exposure of truth in its purest form. There has been something lingering beneath the surface of your daily routine. A tension that you push aside. A pattern you justified. A compromise you tolerated. God sees the long-term effect of what you are tolerating. You see only the present moment. That is why He intervenes. The revelation that comes may arrive through words spoken by someone. It may come through information surfacing unexpectedly. It may come through a sudden clarity that shifts your entire perspective. When it happens, your first instinct might be shock. But beneath that shock will be confirmation. A quiet inner voice saying, "You knew this." That inner knowing is where God was speaking all along. Archangel Michael's presence during this time means that even if confrontation occurs, you will not stand alone. Courage will rise in you at the exact moment you need it. Words will form with clarity. Emotions will steady. You will not collapse under pressure because this moment has been prepared. Do not underestimate the significance of timing. The reference to 11:57 p.m. is not random. It symbolizes the final minutes before a shift, the last call before midnight, the closing of one cycle and the opening of another. You are being given advance notice so you can enter the next phase consciously rather than accidentally. Ask yourself honestly, what have you been avoiding? What conversation have you delayed? What boundary have you been afraid to enforce? What habit have you been excusing? The shocking element of what is coming is that once it unfolds, you will wonder why you waited so long. The truth will feel so clear that your past hesitation will seem unnecessary. But do not condemn yourself for past delay. Instead, thank God for present mercy. Because mercy is still active. You are not being exposed to shame you. You are being exposed to strengthen you. There is a difference. Shame pushes you away from growth. Strength draws you toward responsibility. God is not removing something to leave you empty. He is removing confusion to create space. Space for clarity. Space for healthier alignment. Space for deeper purpose. As this transition approaches, guard your reactions carefully. Do not react from wounded pride. Do not react from fear of loss. React from discernment. Pause before speaking. Pray before responding. Observe before deciding. Archangel Michael's assignment over you in this hour includes sharpening your perception. Pay attention to tone. Pay attention to inconsistencies. Pay attention to patterns repeating. The revelation may not be loud at first. It may unfold in layers. But once you see it fully, you will not be able to unsee it. And that is freedom. Freedom sometimes arrives through discomfort, but it is still freedom. Tonight, as the clock moves closer to 11:57 p.m., position your heart in readiness. Not anxiety, but readiness. Not fear, but awareness. Instead of scrolling aimlessly, sit quietly for a few minutes. Ask God to confirm what He has been trying to show you. Invite clarity instead of resisting it. Because once the shift completes, your life will not return to the old pattern. Something will permanently change in your awareness. You will not be able to skip God as easily again. His voice will feel stronger. His nudges clearer. His direction firmer. This is not pressure. It is privilege. Few people receive repeated warnings before revelation arrives. Few are given this level of preparation. You are being treated with intentional mercy. The only question left is whether you will respond fully this time. The next unfolding will show you exactly how serious heaven has been about reaching you. Steady your heart, because what you are sensing now is the tightening of a spiritual knot that is about to be untied. You are no longer in the stage of warning alone. You are entering the stage of manifestation. God has repeated, I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me, not to remind you of failure, but to prepare you for responsibility. When revelation arrives, responsibility follows. You may already feel subtle changes in your environment. Conversations feel heavier. Silence feels louder. Even ordinary interactions seem charged with meaning. That is because your discernment is sharpening. When you stop skipping God, your awareness increases. You begin to notice what you once overlooked. Archangel Michael remains positioned as a guardian over this unfolding moment. But understand something important. Protection does not remove participation. Heaven can shield you, but you must choose obedience. The shock that is approaching will not force you into alignment. It will invite you into it. What you do after truth is revealed will determine the next season of your life. Some part of you already knows what is coming. You have felt it building. A tension beneath the surface. A truth that refuses to stay buried. God does not expose prematurely. He exposes precisely. Timing is everything in the spiritual realm. If this revelation had come months ago, you would not have been ready. If it came later, the damage could have deepened. Now is the appointed hour. Do not confuse suddenness with chaos. Divine timing often feels abrupt because heaven moves with precision, not hesitation. The unexpected event will not be random. It will connect directly to the areas where you kept feeling that inner nudge. The places where you sensed something is off. The relationships where peace felt forced. The decisions that required compromise of your conviction. When clarity strikes, your first reaction might be emotional. That is natural. But do not allow emotion to overpower wisdom. Buzz. Read. Ask God to anchor you before you respond outwardly. Archangel Michael's covering ensures you are not alone in this confrontation with truth. Courage will rise as needed. There is another layer you must understand. Sometimes we skip God not because we do not love Him, but because we fear the consequences of listening fully. Obedience can require difficult conversations. It can require letting go of familiar attachments. It can require stepping into unknown territory. And the unknown feels threatening. But what if the unknown is safer than what you have been tolerating? The shock coming into your life is not meant to destabilize you. It is meant to stabilize you on truth. Stability built on illusion cannot last. Stability built on clarity cannot be shaken easily. God is moving you from fragile peace to firm ground. You may notice resistance increasing as this moment approaches. Doubt whispering that you are overthinking. Distraction trying to pull your focus elsewhere. Old habits attempting to numb your awareness. That resistance is proof that something significant is about to shift. Breakthrough often faces its strongest opposition right before arrival. Do not retreat now. Instead, lean deeper into awareness. Pray with honesty. Ask direct questions. Invite God to reveal anything hidden. And when He answers, accept it without delay. If this message is resonating deeply within you, do not stay silent. Engage with it. Like this message so it reaches others who are also on the edge of awakening. Share it with someone who has been sensing a shift but cannot name it. Comment what God has been showing you in recent days, because your testimony might unlock clarity for another person. Subscribe and stand connected to this mission, because these messages are not entertainment, they are lifelines. When you participate, you help amplify a voice that many desperately need to hear. And listen carefully now, because this is crucial. The next layer of revelation will make everything undeniable. The patterns you questioned will become clear. The motives you suspected will surface. The discomfort you felt will make sense. When that happens, do not minimize it. Do not rationalize it away. Receive it. Archangel Michael stands not just as protector, but as witness. Witness to your growth. Witness to your turning point. Witness to the moment you decide that skipping God is no longer an option. As the clock inches closer to 11:57 p.m., allow your spirit to quiet itself. Turn off distractions. Sit in stillness, even if only for a few minutes. This is not about fear of time running out. It is about honoring the urgency of alignment. Because after tonight, something in you will not be the same. You will either step into clarity with courage, or you will feel the weight of having ignored one more warning. But deep down, you know which path you are meant to choose. The next revelation will seal that decision. And when it does, you will understand why heaven refused to let you skip this message again. Listen closely now, because the atmosphere around your life has reached a tipping point. What once felt like subtle tension is becoming unmistakable clarity. You are no longer guessing whether God has been trying to reach you. You know it. The evidence is forming. The pieces are aligning. The sense that something is about to be revealed is stronger than ever. God's voice has not grown louder because he was ignored. It has grown clearer because the moment of decision has arrived. I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me. It was not a complaint. It was a call to awareness. And awareness has now matured into confrontation with truth. Archangel Michael stands firm in this hour, guarding the transition you are stepping into. There is spiritual significance to this timing. The shift is not only external, it is internal. You are being strengthened from within so that when the unexpected unfolds, you respond with authority instead of fear. You may already notice subtle confirmations. A conversation that feels revealing. A detail that suddenly stands out. A pattern you once ignored now appearing obvious. These are not coincidences. They are signals. Heaven has been arranging moments to make the truth impossible to deny. There is something powerful about reaching the point where you can no longer pretend you did not see the signs. That point brings both relief and responsibility. Relief because confusion begins to lift. Responsibility because clarity demands action. For too long, you lived in a space between knowing and ignoring. You sensed misalignment but postponed confrontation. You felt unease but called it imagination. You noticed inconsistencies but labeled them temporary. That space is collapsing now. The shock that is coming carries a purpose. It will remove doubt. It will eliminate the gray areas. What seemed uncertain will become defined. And when definition comes, direction becomes easier. You not fear what is about to be exposed. Fear only the idea of remaining unaware. Because awareness is a gift. It may sting at first, but it ultimately frees. Archangel Michael's presence means you are not stepping into this revelation defenseless. Courage is being supplied in advance. Stability is being established beneath your feet. You are not being pushed into chaos. You are being escorted into truth. This is where many people fail. They receive clarity but resist change. They see truth but cling to familiarity. They recognize misalignment but choose comfort. Do not fall into that pattern. If God went to this length to reach you, it is because what lies ahead requires a cleaner foundation. Something about your current environment has been draining your spiritual energy. You have felt it in subtle exhaustion, in mental fog, in delaying progress. You wondered why certain prayers felt blocked, why certain efforts stall. What you are about to see will explain it. And when explanation comes, peace will follow. Peace not because everything remains the same, but because the hidden weight will be lifted. Peace because you will finally understand what was interfering with your growth. Peace because alignment restores flow. As the hours move closer to 11:57 p.m., do not allow anxiety to take control. This is not a countdown to disaster. It is a countdown to revelation. Midnight symbolizes transition. One day closing, another beginning. You are crossing a spiritual midnight moment. Ask yourself one more honest question. If God has truly been trying to reach you, why would he stop now? He would not. The persistence itself proves his intention to protect and position you correctly. The unexpected element may surprise you in its form. It may not look dramatic. It may be as simple as a statement that reveals more than intended, or a message that exposes inconsistency, or a sudden clarity that rearranges your perspective. But whatever form it takes, its impact will be undeniable. After it happens, there will be a brief silence in your spirit, a pause where everything settles. In that silence, you will feel two things simultaneously: shock and confirmation. Shock because it is finally visible. Confirmation because you sensed it all along. That confirmation is where your strength will anchor. Do not allow guilt over past delays to weaken you. Growth often requires repeated attempts. What matters is not how many times you skipped God before. What matters is whether you respond now. Archangel Michael does not guard stagnation. He guards movement toward purpose. And you are moving. The coming revelation will separate illusion from reality. It will clarify who stands with you and who merely stood near you. It will highlight which doors were distractions and which ones remain divinely assigned. When this separation occurs, trust it, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it disrupts routine, even if it forces difficult adjustments. Because on the other side of this exposure is acceleration. Acceleration in clarity. Acceleration in peace. Acceleration in spiritual authority. And when you look back on this night, you will realize that heaven's urgency was not harshness. It was mercy refusing to let you drift any longer. Prepare your heart. The unveiling is closer than ever. Remain attentive, because what you are stepping into now is the unveiling itself. The buildup is no longer just spiritual tension. It is manifestation. Something that was concealed is beginning to surface, and you can feel it in the subtle shift of your awareness. The confusion that once clouded your perception is thinning. The fog is lifting, and with it clarity comes a moment you will not forget. God said, "I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me." Now you understand why the persistence was necessary. If he had stopped speaking, you would have walked deeper into misalignment. If he had remained silent, you would have accepted a version of reality that was incomplete. But because he continued reaching, you are prepared for what is being revealed. Archangel Michael stands as guardian over this exact hour. The exposure unfolding is not accidental, and it is not uncontrolled. It is measured. It is precise. It is allowed because you are ready to handle it. The unexpected event may appear ordinary on the surface. It might be a conversation that reveals more than intended. It might be a message that exposes inconsistency. It might be a sudden realization that connects months of small details into one undeniable truth. However it appears, its weight will be unmistakable. In that moment, your body may react before your mind fully processes it. A tightening in your chest, a rush of awareness, a pause in your thoughts. That reaction is not panic. It is recognition. You will recognize that God was correct to warn you. Here is something powerful about the instant when suspicion transforms into certainty. When what you felt quietly becomes visible openly. It may sting. It may disappoint. It may even shake your sense of stability for a brief moment. But underneath the discomfort will be relief. Relief that you are no longer living in partial understanding. Archangel Michael's presence ensures that what is exposed does not overwhelm you. Protection remains active even in revelation. You are not being left alone with the truth. You are being escorted through it. And out comes the critical part. Once truth is revealed, you must choose alignment. You cannot unsee what you see. You cannot unknow what you now understand. The temptation will be to minimize it, to smooth it over, to preserve comfort. But comfort built on compromise always collapses later. This is your opportunity to respond differently than before. Instead of skipping God's voice, you honor it. Instead of postponing obedience, you act on it. Instead of tolerating confusion, you establish clarity. The significance of 11:57 p.m. symbolizes the final minutes before closure. As midnight approaches, cycles shift. What belonged to yesterday cannot cross into tomorrow unchanged. Spiritually, You are at that boundary. Something from your previous pattern cannot follow you into the next season. That may involve a conversation you must have. It may involve a boundary you must establish. It may involve a decision you have delayed for far too long. But whatever it is, you now possess the clarity required to act. Do not rush recklessly, but do not retreat either. Pray first. Seek confirmation. Then move with calm authority. The shock you anticipated is not meant to destabilize your faith. It is meant to strengthen it. When you see how accurately God warned you, your trust in His voice will deepen. You will no longer treat His nudges as optional. You will recognize them as protection. And here is the hidden blessing within this revelation. Once illusion falls, acceleration begins. You wasted energy maintaining uncertainty. You drained strength tolerating misalignment. Now that the truth is visible, your energy will redirect toward purpose. Archangel Michael's assignment over you is shifting from guarding against unseen threats to supporting forward movement. The battle was awareness. The victory is clarity. Take a deep breath and reflect on how far you have come even within this single day. You began in uncertainty. You moved through warning. You stepped into recognition. Now you stand in revelation. This is growth. If this message confirms what your spirit has been sensing, type "I walk in truth" in the comments right now. Blessing code 818 has just been activated over your life. And as this truth sets you free, understand something powerful. When you sow into the spreading of God's word through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding a platform. You are igniting light in hidden places. Scripture declares that those who sow in faith will reap in abundance. This is your moment to respond prophetically. When you act, you become part of heaven's strategy to awaken others before their 11:57 p.m. moment arrives. I declare that every seed you release will return as protection, favor, and open doors. Do not hesitate when your spirit is stirred. Move in obedience and seal this breakthrough with action. Stand firm now, because after revelation comes recalibration. You have seen what needed to be seen. You have recognized what could no longer be ignored. The shock that once felt threatening has transformed into clarity. But clarity demands adjustment. This is the stage where your response defines your future. God's voice has accomplished its purpose. I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me. Is no longer just a warning echoing in your spirit. It is a truth that has proven itself. You cannot deny now that heaven was speaking long before the unveiling occurred. The evidence stands before you. Archangel Michael remains present, but his role in this moment is shifting. Earlier, he stood as protector against unseen harm. Now he stands as witness to your decision. Protection opened your eyes. Choice will determine your path forward. There may be a mixture of emotions moving through you. Relief that the uncertainty is gone. Disappointment that the truth required confrontation. Even grief over what could have been if alignment had happened earlier. Allow those emotions to pass through you, but do not allow them to control you. This is not the hour for regret. It is the hour for resolve. Recalibration means adjusting your direction according to new understanding. You cannot continue interacting with certain dynamics the same way. You cannot keep allowing access where boundaries are required. You cannot maintain silence where clarity demands communication. What was hidden has been revealed so that you can act differently. The temptation now is subtle. After exposure, there is often a desire to return to normal quickly, to smooth things over and pretend the shock was not significant. But normal is what led you here. Normal allowed you to skip God's voice repeatedly. Normal maintained comfort at the cost of discernment. You are not called back to normal. You are called forward into alignment. Alignment may require difficult honesty. It may require stepping back from influences that once felt familiar. It may require releasing expectations that no longer serve your growth. But every adjustment you make now builds stability for what lies ahead. Archangel Michael's presence assures you that courage is available. Do not mistake courage for aggression. Courage is calm, steady, and grounded. It speaks truth without chaos. It stands firm without hostility. It moves with confidence because it knows it is supported. You must also guard against pride in this moment. Revelation can tempt you to feel superior or justified in anger. But this process was never about proving you right. It was about positioning you correctly. Stay humble. Stay focused on growth rather than vindication. Here is another layer unfolding quietly. As you adjust, you may notice opportunities beginning to open. Small but significant shifts in direction. Conversations that feel more aligned. Ideas that flow more freely. This is the result of clearing interference. When illusion falls, momentum increases. The reference to 11:57 p.m. symbolized urgency. Midnight has now passed in the spiritual sense. A new day has begun. What you choose in this new day matters deeply. Do not waste it by slipping back into old patterns. Ask yourself what obedience looks like now. It may be a simple conversation handled with maturity. It may be a decision to step away from something that drains your peace. It may be a commitment to prioritize spiritual discipline consistently instead of occasionally. Whatever it is, act on it without delay. Remember how many times you postponed listening before. Remember how it led to confusion. Let that memory strengthen your resolve not to repeat the cycle. Archangel Michael's assignment over you includes guarding your progress. But progress must be walked out daily. Protection does not replace participation. You are stepping into a season where your responsiveness to God's voice will become sharper. You will sense warnings earlier. You will recognize misalignment faster. That sensitivity is a gift. Treat it carefully. Do not fear future shocks. The greatest shock was the realization that you have been ignoring divine nudges. Now that awareness has grown, you are less likely to drift. The peace settling over you now is different from the fragile calm you maintained before. This peace is rooted in truth. It may not feel light and carefree yet, but it is solid. And solid peace builds lasting strength. You have crossed a threshold. The next stage will require consistency. Not dramatic action, but steady obedience. Small daily choices aligned with what you now understand. Heaven reached for you persistently because you are valuable. Do not treat this turning point lightly. What began as a warning has become a transformation. And as you move forward, you will begin to see that what felt shocking was actually strategic. It was heaven's way of ensuring that you do not build your future on unstable ground. Stay alert. Stay humble. Stay aligned. The final unfolding will reveal how this entire sequence was orchestrated not to frighten you, but to elevate you. Now that the truth has surfaced and your eyes are open, you may feel a strange mixture of strength and vulnerability at the same time. That feeling is natural. When God exposes what was hidden, He does not only remove illusion, He rebuilds perception. You are seeing differently now. You are thinking differently. And most importantly, you are listening differently. I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me. Those words no longer sound distant. They sound personal. They sound accurate. And they sound loving in a way you did not fully understand before. Because now you see that every ignored nudge was actually protection trying to intervene early. Archangel Michael stands near this stage of your journey not with urgency anymore, but with assurance. The crisis of awareness has passed. The moment of exposure has unfolded. Now comes the discipline of transformation. Transformation is quieter than revelation. It does not come with shock. It comes with daily decisions. You will notice in the coming days that certain patterns no longer feel comfortable. Conversations that once felt normal may now feel draining. Environments you tolerated may now feel heavy. This is because your discernment has sharpened. When God succeeds in reaching you, your tolerance for misalignment decreases. Do not ignore this new sensitivity. It is evidence of growth. There is something powerful about the stage you are entering now. You are no longer reacting to a warning. You are responding to understanding. A shift changes everything. Instead of asking, "Is God really speaking?" you begin asking, "How quickly can I obey?" This is maturity. But maturity must be protected. After a breakthrough, distraction often attempts to creep back in subtly. You might be tempted to relax too much, to assume the hardest part is over, to drift back into autopilot. That would be the quietest form of skipping God again. Stay attentive. Not anxious, but attentive. Archangel Michael's role now is to reinforce your spiritual boundaries. You will feel prompted to say no where you once said yes. You will feel guided to pause where you once rushed. You will feel conviction sooner and clarity faster. Treat those signals as precious. There is also a responsibility attached to what you have experienced. When God goes to such lengths to wake someone up, it is not only for their own sake. It is for the sake of others connected to them. Your obedience now carries influence. That is why I urge you not to stay silent about what you have learned. If this message has been a turning point for you, engage with it openly. Like this message so that its reach extends beyond your screen. Share it with someone who may be ignoring the same warnings you once ignored. Comment what changed in your spirit through this process, because your testimony can be the confirmation someone else needs. Subscribe and remain connected to this mission, because spiritual awakenings do not end with one message. They continue through consistent nourishment. And as you remain engaged, understand something deeper. The urgency of 11:57 p.m. symbolized a deadline for awareness. But now that midnight has spiritually passed, a new responsibility has begun. Awareness without action fades. Revelation without discipline weakens. You are being invited into a steadier relationship with God's voice. One where you no longer require shock to listen. One where you do not need crisis to respond. Think about how different your recent situation could have been if you had listened at the first nudge. Imagine how much confusion could have been avoided. Let that reflection not create regret, but motivation. Motivation to respond faster next time. Archangel Michael's presence assures you that you are supported as you build this new pattern. You are not expected to be perfect overnight, but you are expected to be intentional. Intentional prayer, intentional boundaries, intentional decisions. There is a calm strength forming in you now. It is not dramatic. It is not loud, but it is steady. That steadiness is what will carry you forward long after this message ends. The shock you feared has become a lesson. The warning you almost skipped has become wisdom. The exposure that unsettled you has become clarity. Now you must guard that clarity. Because the greatest victory is not hearing God once. It is developing the habit of listening consistently. As you step into this new rhythm, remember that heaven's persistence was not random. It was targeted love. It was intentional protection. It was mercy refusing to let you drift into something that would have cost you more than you realized. Stay grounded in that understanding. The final stage of this journey will reveal how this entire sequence was not only about correction, but about commissioning. You are not just being corrected. You are being prepared. And preparation always precedes promotion. Take a deep breath and recognize how far you have come in such a short spiritual span. What began as a warning has unfolded into awareness. What felt like urgency has matured into understanding. And now, you are standing in a place of preparation. The shaking has passed. The revelation has settled. What remains is clarity, and clarity is powerful. When God said, "I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me," it was never meant to leave you in guilt. It was meant to wake you into purpose. Now that you have listened, something profound is happening within you. You are no longer reacting emotionally to divine correction. You are beginning to embrace divine direction. Archangel Michael's presence in your journey has shifted once again. He is not standing in front of you as a warning signal anymore. He is standing beside you as reinforcement. Reinforcement for the new level of discernment you now carry. Reinforcement for the boundaries you are beginning to establish. Reinforcement for the courage you have already demonstrated. This stage is quieter, but do not mistake quietness for insignificance. Quiet seasons are where strength is formed. After exposure comes stabilization. After stabilization comes expansion. You may already sense subtle opportunities aligning around you. New clarity in conversations. A renewed sense of focus in your thoughts. A calmer atmosphere in your environment. These are not small details. They are evidence that alignment produces peace. But preparation requires vigilance. There will still be moments when distraction attempts to re-enter. Old habits do not disappear overnight. Patterns built over time require consistent discipline to replace. This is where your growth will be tested, not through shock, but through consistency. Will you pause before making decisions now? Will you pray before responding impulsively? Will you honor the inner nudge instead of brushing it aside? These questions define the difference between temporary awakening and lasting transformation. The 11:57 p.m. moment symbolized urgency, but what follows midnight is responsibility. A new day does not manage itself. It must be stewarded. You are now a steward of clarity. Do not underestimate how valuable this clarity is. Many people walk through life confused, misaligned, and unaware of divine warnings. You were interrupted before damage deepened. You were alerted before consequences multiplied. That is mercy in action. Archangel Michael's role in this next phase is to strengthen your spiritual discipline. You may feel prompted to re-establish daily habits that connect you with God more intentionally. Short, consistent prayer, focused reflection, intentional gratitude. These small acts create a protective atmosphere around your life. Protection is no longer just about avoiding harm. It is about preserving growth. You are also being prepared for influence. What you have experienced is not meant to remain private. In time, someone close to you will face a similar situation. They will struggle with uncertainty. They will sense something is off but hesitate to confront it. And because of what you walk through, you will be able to guide them gently. This is how preparation becomes commissioning. God did not insist on reaching you simply to correct a mistake. He insisted because he intends to trust you with greater responsibility. Look at how differently you see now compared to when this began. You were unsure. Now you are grounded. You were hesitant. Now you are steady. That steadiness is the foundation of promotion. Promotion in the spiritual sense does not always mean visibility. Sometimes it means deeper trust, deeper sensitivity, greater authority in prayer, a stronger sense of direction. Archangel Michael stands witness to this growth, not as a distant figure, but as confirmation that heaven observed your decision to listen. When you chose not to skip the warning again, something shifted in the unseen realm. Your responsiveness strengthened your spiritual standing. Do not allow this momentum to fade. Guard your time. Guard your thoughts. Guard your associations. The clarity you gained must be protected from gradual erosion. The shocking and unexpected event that once loomed over you has already served its purpose. It awakened you. It aligned you. It prepared you. Now you stand on the edge of something new. Not chaos, not fear, but direction. There is one final layer to this journey that you must understand fully. What felt like interruption was actually invitation. Invitation into deeper trust. Invitation into sharper discernment. Invitation into a life where you no longer need crisis to hear God's voice. You are ready for that level now. And as you step forward, remember this: skipping God once created confusion. Listening to Him now has created strength. The final word over your life in this sequence is not warning. It is commissioning. And what comes next will seal that truth. Beloved, this is the sealing moment. What began as a divine interruption has now become a divine commissioning. You are no longer the same person who first heard the warning. You are not standing in confusion anymore. You are standing in clarity. And clarity is a sacred responsibility. When God said, "I have been trying to reach you, but you always keep skipping me," it was the sound of relentless love. It was not accusation. It was pursuit. And now you understand that if He had stopped pursuing you, you might have walked into something that would have cost you far more than you realized. The shocking and unexpected event that hovered over this message has already done its work. It exposed what needed exposure. It revealed what needed revelation. It shook what needed shaking. But look at you now. You are still standing. Stronger. Wiser. More aware. Archangel Michael has not left your side. His presence in this journey symbolized spiritual defense during awakening. But now his stance has shifted into something greater: confirmation. Confirmation that you have crossed a threshold. Confirmation that you responded when it mattered most. The 11:57 p.m. moment represented urgency. Midnight represented transition. And now you are living in the first light of a new spiritual day. You will not skip God the same way again, because now you recognize His voice. You recognize the weight of His nudges. You recognize that delay carries consequences, but obedience carries acceleration. There is something powerful about reaching the end of a warning and realizing it was actually protection all along. The tension you felt was not meant to frighten you. It was meant to prepare you. The urgency was not meant to pressure you. It was meant to prioritize you. Heaven prioritized you. Think about that. Out of all the distractions, all the noise, all the moments you could have scrolled past, you were stopped, interrupted, redirected. That is not random. That is divine intention. Now the responsibility shifts fully into your hands. Will you maintain this awareness tomorrow? Will you continue honoring the voice that called you back? Will you choose discipline over distraction when no one is watching? Because this is where true transformation is proven. Not in the emotional intensity of revelation, but in the quiet consistency that follows. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that protection increases when obedience increases. When you align quickly, battles shorten. When you listen early, consequences lessen. When you respond faithfully, clarity multiplies. You are entering a season where God will speak to you more directly. Not because He suddenly decided to, but because you finally tuned in. The line of communication is clear now. Do not clog it again with avoidance. Let this be the moment you remember whenever distraction tempts you. Let this be the memory that strengthens your resolve. You were warned. You listened. You aligned. And because you aligned, something greater is now being entrusted to you. If this message has marked a turning point in your spirit, type "I will not skip God" in the comments right now. Blessing code 1212 has just been released over your life. Now hear this final word clearly. As this message reached you before your spiritual midnight, there are countless others standing at their own 11:57 p.m. moment. When you release a seed through Super Thanks, when you join as a member, or when you give through the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are lighting a torch before someone else's darkness closes in. The Lord declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down and overflowing." This is not a transaction. This is a prophetic act of obedience. When you move first, heaven responds. I speak blessing over every giver right now. May your seed return as protection over your home, clarity over your mind, and acceleration over your destiny. Do not delay this holy prompting. Act now and seal your obedience with faith.